Hello, in this movie we will add a toggler effect on our navigation. For example, if I make this font as some website smaller, you can see this toggler here, and if I click on this toggler, you can see all of the list of our navigation. So we will add the same effect on our navigation here. So back to my editor, right here, right after our brand, right before our unordered list, I will add one div with the class of collapse. So this one will have a class of navbar collapse, and then for this div we will have some id. So I'm gonna call this id to be navbar collapse CMS. And now let's wrap all of this unordered list inside this div. So adding it right after this unordered list. So this one was the ending of our left side unordered list, and this is the ending of our right side unordered list. So adding the ending of our div tag here. Now scrolling up, as you can see I have given it some ID. So before doing anything, if I save this one and let's refresh our page, let's scroll down, you can see on certain breakpoint we cannot see our navigation anymore, and we don't have the bar button here. So we need to add that button by ourselves. So right here I'm gonna add our button. So instead of any form type button, this button will have some class, and that class will be nav bar dash toggler, and then it will have a JavaScript attribute. So data dash toggle is equal to collapse, and then it will have one more attribute with the name of data dash target, in which we have to mention this id that wrapped up our whole navigation items, all of our unordered list. So I have to mention that id right here. So when we call data toggle, it means that we are requiring some functionality from the JavaScript file of Bootstrap, and make sure this ID, this div ID that have all of your unordered list, including all the list items, all of these ones must match with this data dash target, otherwise it won't going to work. So these ones are same. If I save and refresh my page, so on certain breakpoint you can see we don't have anything except for this one. What's this? Yeah, we need to remove this one. And inside this button we have to add one span tag that will have a class of navbar dash toggler dash icon. Now saving this one. Now let's refresh our page, and also you can see we got this angular bracket before logout. So first let's remove this one. It's right here. Now scrolling up, if I refresh my page again, you can see we got something here, but it's not working. Why it's not working? It's because this div has some ID, and in order to strike on this ID in the data dash target, we have to mention this ID, and we can specify the ID by hash symbol. That's why it wasn't working. So if I save this one and now refresh my page, now if I click here, you can see this toggler is working completely fine, but there are no lines on this one. It's because in your nav tag, you have to add one class, that is nav bar dash dark, that will make your all of the content to darker color. So now if I refresh this page, you can see this cool navbar icon, and you can click on this icon to view all of your navbar items. See, it's looking completely perfect to me. And as we have applied this navbar dash dark class on our navigation, so it has also changed every single color to darker color. So for example, instead of navbar dash dark, if I apply navbar dash primary, let's see what's gonna happen. If I refresh my page, you can see we don't have that here anymore. So we cannot have primary color on our navigation bar. So back to our darker color, refreshing my page, you can see with this darker color, our nav brand has a whiter color, but all of these items have a bit gray color, which means by this navbar dash dark colors, we don't need this anchor tag to be whiter one. So I'm gonna remove this from here, saving this styles.css file. Now we don't have anything in styles.css file anymore. So if I refresh my page, you can see everything is working completely fine. So this is all for our navigation bar. Now before ending this lecture, I will add a 10px line at the top of this navigation and also at the bottom of this navigation, so that it looks a bit more better. So back to my editor, right before this navigation bar, right before this nav tag, I will add one div that will have a custom style. So giving it some height of 10px and its background to be this color. Now if I save this one and refresh my page, you can see this cool div with this color. Let's also put this div right after the nav tag here. See, it looks better, right? And let's also add a comment, navbar end. So this is all for our navigation. Now in the next movie we will work on our footer.